Good morning, Earth family and tribe. This is your Empath energy update for June 1st through the 7th. Wow, crazy times. As a alchemist and a intergalactic shaman, I have been transmuting a lot of energy. This is Rena with InsideJobHealing.com. Hope you're holding out okay. There's been a lot of intense energies. I highly recommend that you watch my friend Lada's video on the lunar eclipse in Sagittarius for the month of June. Really intense energy. Just to give you a brief summary of her video, she talks about that right now we're in opposition to the star with the eclipse. It's called Antares. It's like the second Mars, and it is being activated by Mars. So this red star, so a lot of anger, very self-destructive energy, reactive. So unfortunately, the astrology is really speaking to the state of affairs and the rioting that we're having in the U.S. and people are just, breaking old belief systems, and they're wanting to create something new. So a lot of Kali energy of destruction in order to create the new, and just a lot of anger. They're done with a lot of polarizing systems and institutions and things like that. So, it's amazing. My husband was saying that one person could, mobilize, millions. And it's because we're the collective, right? So we all feel injustice, very raw and together. And so just because it was one person, we all know that, the way that person was treated, may he rest in peace, George Floyd, it was absolutely outrageous. And people took to the streets. Now, whether you choose, you have free will of how you respond. So, some people are being really destructive with property and small businesses that have already suffered due to COVID-19 and burning cars and things like that. That's a crime. So unfortunately, those people are being arrested, but you can peacefully protest and speak your truth, because that's the only way change is going to happen. This is on the heels of Ahmaud Arbery, another African American that was shot down in the street in cold blood running. So we are in 2020. Everything that Martin Luther King Jr. was fighting for, it's like all these things are being brought up to the surface. So one of the themes right now is injustice and traumas and wounding coming to the surface. And a lot of us are just like, we're sick and tired of it. We're angry. We've all experienced injustices in our life, and we're done. We're done. We feel like all lives matter. And as the mayor of Minnesota said, being black in America shouldn't be a death sentence. And so now I feel like the collective consciousness has raised enough to be like, okay, enough is enough. This is wrong. You have, police brutality, excessive force. And there's a pattern. It's happening with white male officers with aggression towards African American males. And so it's like, there's no reason for it. Former officer Chauvin, the police officer that had his knee on George Floyd for over 8 minutes, when it takes 6 minutes to strangle somebody, clearly intending to kill him nonchalantly, which is disgusting. So I believe that he should have been given at least the second degree murder, if they couldn't prove first degree intent and planning. But certainly it's insulting to George Floyd's family that they gave him the third degree, which is the lessest degree, which is a 20-year jail sentence. So again, hopefully justice will be served there, but at least he's being tried. And the thing that's so enraging for a lot of us is that police officers, it's hard to convict them. And I don't understand why. Just because you have a gun and a badge doesn't mean you get out of a jail card and you can go kill people and use excessive force when you're arresting people. So that definitely needs to change, regardless of your race. And so a lot of us are just, we're over it. This particular Officer Chauvin, former Officer Chauvin, he's been accused 18 times of misconduct and police brutality. So to me, it's like, this should never have happened in the first place. We need to do a major cleanup. There needs to be a major institutional change. There are people that should never become police officers, should never wear the badge to serve and protect. And this person was supposed to be a first responder, and he didn't respond to George Foreman saying, "I can't breathe," and calling out for his mother. You're supposed to administer CPR and help that person, not kill them. You're here to protect and serve. So we really need to take a really close look at our police academies and our system, and we need to look through people who've been accused of police brutality and excessive force, and we need to get rid of those people. We need to nip racism in the bud, so things like that don't happen again. I mean, the last time, as you recall, is like, the major rioting was Rodney King in 1992, and I mean, this is was mostly in LA, but this is like on a much more massive scale. So anyway, so we've as a collective, we've had enough. The police departments need to be cleaned out, and certainly moving forward, we need to be attracting the right kind of candidates to the police academies that are in fact going to be protecting and serving. So we don't have this kind of showdown. Like, so with Empath, this is a very volatile star. It's activating rebellion, it's activating anger, it's activating attack and counterattack, and it's like a very militaristic star. So we're seeing this playing out on our streets. Right now we're having curfews, but again, it's that polarity, right? Like, it's us against them. It's black versus white, police versus people, and then lunar eclipses, as Lada was saying, affect the people, whereas solar eclipses affect people in power. So we're very much being mobilized energetically through the cosmos to kind of really stand up for our rights. Some people are choosing, again, to take it really far and commit crimes, and again, that's their free will, but there are consequences to that. But certainly we can vote, we can exercise, just like the mayor of Atlanta and Barack Obama has suggested, we can vote, speaking our truth and our dismay to the current system that's broken, and it's been broken for decades. And certainly we can, peacefully protest if we choose to. And so a lot of this 3D energy that's been coming out that I've been talking about through the COVID-19 is really, we're just, all the shadows, all the shit, all the things that have been swept up under the rug for years is just now coming to the surface. And we're like, okay, things are not okay, right? And so we're dealing with all this dark energy, right? All this darkness. It needs to be transmuted, right? Because we cannot move to a 5D or new earth, heaven on earth structure if we have all these injustices, if we have all these prejudices, if we have all this, trauma and wounding, and on a personal level, not just in the streets, on a collective level. I mean, we were all outraged by what happened, and it should never have happened. But unfortunately it exists, and there are bad apples. However, in our personal lives, what injustices, what traumas are coming up, what wounding is coming up for you? I know for me, I talked about my attack a few weeks ago that happened, and it took me weeks to process the anger and resentment and to really come to a place of forgiveness for the pit bull and their owners for attacking my dog. And that's kind of, that's my pattern, is I don't like conflict. I like to take the path of least resistance, but we talked about how Empath is really about breaking patterns, and Sagittarius in it. It's like your belief system and old system. And like for me, I don't like conflict, and I don't want to go to court. I have had to go to court in the past, but I'm not a litigious person. So for me, I thought the path of least resistance for me was to be peaceful and respond and not react. And so I wrote a letter, certified letter, sent it with the bill. And so a few days later, it was during the holiday weekend last weekend, I guess I got a payment through PayPal from these people and an email apology. So, but by the time I saw it was Wednesday, because we had a holiday weekend, I wasn't checking my email. And by the time I clicked on it, the funds were gone. They had been pulled. So of course, this energy of, I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty pissed off. I was like, okay, I went weeks, I had to heal my dog, she couldn't sleep at night, I was traumatized, we couldn't walk for 2 weeks when the weather was super nice, and spring in Indiana. I was scared, I didn't feel safe, I was angry, I didn't feel like I got an apology at the time of the attack, and my dog was mangled, practically killed. So of course, I'm like, it's a slap in the face that you're gonna send money and then you're gonna revoke that money and pull it. And unfortunately, I didn't realize this. I'm not trying to badmouth PayPal, but I don't use them at InsideJobHealing.com for a reason. But now I'm like more likely not to, because you can, the buyer or whoever's sending you the money can pull the money at any time for no reason. So again, I don't know what the story is, but they're not responding. And so of course I'm angry. I feel like re-traumatized. I feel like it's injustice. I paid this money for the vet bill, and I can actually go go after them in court for the trauma and the emotional trauma of me. Literally, I'm surprised I didn't get bit by the pit bull, because I was literally in the middle of this pit bull attack between my dog and this dog for 2 minutes. And all the eyewitnesses were shocked that I didn't get bit. So I was in the line of fire. So obviously my normal response would be take the path of least resistance, be peaceful, don't do a conflict. But now I'm like, okay, I sent them a very stern email after trying to contact them for several days, and I said, if I don't receive the funds within 7 to 10 days, I'm going to court. And I'm not just going after the vet bill. I'm going after the personal damages and the trauma that I endured emotionally, and I'm bringing my eyewitnesses with me. So what Lada suggests with this kind of energy, there's so much anger and so much frustration and so much injustice in our own personal traumas. Like I just gave you that example coming out. It's really easy to like fly off the handle and like for me to go to their house, knock on their house, they're our neighbors, and just like yell at them and be like, what the fuck? Like, where's my money? But instead I was like, okay, I'm going to be very strategic. I'm going to document everything with an email, my attempts to reach them, and just to give them another chance to respond and do the right thing. And if they don't, I have no recourse but to speak up for my personal rights and protect myself and my dog and do what's right and go to court and demand what I should have demanded in the first place, which is not just the vet bill, but the damages for the trauma that occurred to me. So that's what this energy is really about. So what ways in your life do you feel like there's been an attack or people have been jealous of you, or there's been kind of like old traumas or injustices or wounding that's coming up? So I highly encourage you to respond, to create a strategy, and to not react. I feel that it's very hard not to react because the energy is intense AF. So anyway, so the lunar eclipse is happening on June 5th, and to Lada's point, it's already being felt, and it will be felt for 3 months. So buckle up. There's been curfews to kind of keep people at home. I experienced this during the Civil War in Thailand. I never thought I was going to experience this again, but we are in crazy times. But again, just know that this is part of the process. We have to go through this terrain. We have to go through our shadows. We have to go through the injustices. We have to transmute and experience and process all of these energies. And if you need a guide on this journey, again, reach out to me. I do one-on-ones. I still have the Lifestyle Reset and Thrive at 50% off. So if you're interested in a transformative journey and you feel like you are ready, you're ready to face your shit, the only way is through. Hit me up, message me, DM me, let me know what you think, let me know what you're experiencing, let me know how you're feeling, because these are really unprecedented times with COVID on top of it and civil unrest. A lot of secrets are coming to the surface. This was foretold by the astrology for many, many months that we're going to start, as seeing a shift in power. We talked about millionaires conjunction, which again, I'm really shocked. The market is not going down, it's going up. So pray with me that it's going to have a major dip again so we can buy a few more stocks. But essentially it's already gone up, and even with all this craziness, it's like people are apathetic. They're like, okay, whatever, it's temporary, civil unrest, we have COVID, we're just going to go and invest in business as usual. That's really shocking to me. You would think that the market would have gone through another decline, but it's not. So anyway, so secrets are coming out. So this millionaires conjunction that we talked about in April, a lot of us invested. There's going to be this shift, changing of the guards. There's going to be a shift of power. So those of us that are spiritual and have been rich spiritually but have not gone after money because of poverty or whatever, we're like, okay, it's time for us to rise up. It's time for everybody to rise up, and that's what people are doing. They're rising up, they're speaking their truth, they're breaking old molds, we're breaking the system, we're working with Kali energy to destroy the old in order to build the new. So as scary and as unknown, as uncertain, and as frightening as these times are, and people don't feel safe in their communities, that's why President Trump is potentially suggesting bringing in the military and extreme forces. So right now, these are very, very crazy times, but just know that this is just temporary, and we're going to get through that in order to get to the other side. It's not going to be pretty. It's going to be very messy, but we'll hopefully have shut the door on old patterns. So like I said, those in power, there's a changing of the guard, shifting. So hopefully those of us that are lights and light workers are going to be in a position of power and are going to be coming into wealth, hopefully, so we can really bring new earth into the system, because a lot of secrets are coming up. I highly recommend, it's very disturbing, but it needs to be watched. I highly recommend anybody who's a sexual assault survivor to watch the Jeffrey Epstein series on Netflix, Filthy Rich. It is extremely disturbing, but it needs to be seen. These women, these survivors' voices need to be heard, and it's really about being seen and being heard right now. So I highly recommend that you exercise your rights, Be safe. Love you lots. It's Serena with InsightJobHealing.com.